Good afternoon, everybody. We are on part 2, the review of the Barry Morphew arrest affidavit. We are going to start with section 3. I hope everybody's doing well. We've got a lot going on in the true crime community. I think there's so much that it's been quite difficult for everybody to keep up with all the information coming forward and all the different cases, which is pretty tough and challenging. But as in the Gabby Petito case, very tragic situation, social media played an enormous role with the information forthcoming to authorities, which has just been amazing. And hopefully we can contribute to that in the future and help victims and their families, these different situations. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello, Nick. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's a lengthy document and quite a bit of information to read here. Okay, section 3, Barry's initial statements, May 2020 and July 2020. Your affiant selected statements from some of the interviews of Barry with CBI, CCSO, and the FBI from May 2020 through July 2020. Barry's assertions in these interviews are referenced throughout the remainder of this affidavit to include substantial changes that Barry makes in an attempt to fit any evidence presented to him by CBI agents. The following statements were summarized for the purpose of this affidavit. Barry interview, May 13th. On May 13th, 2020, CBI agent Joseph Cahill and CCSO detective Robin Burgess interviewed Barry. Barry provided a background of his marriage to Suzanne and his daughters, blank blank, and their living arrangements. Barry explained they resided in Arcadia, Indiana until approximately 2018. At that time, he sold his landscaping business, BLM Landscaping, and other real properties, and moved to the residence at 19057 Puma Path, Salida, Chaffee County. Barry, an avid hunter and outdoorsman, explained they moved to Salida to be closer to blank, who attends Western State University in Gunnison, Colorado. I don't know if everyone's aware of the fact that yesterday Barry Morphew posted his $500,000 cash bond and was released from the detention center there in Chaffee County. His 2 girls picked him up upon his release, and I am aware of the fact that he is wearing a GPS monitoring ankle bracelet. Okay. Barry stated he has a family that he and Suzanne, reside at 19057 Puma Path, and there are no other persons who live at this address. It's Suzanne and blank, believed to be his youngest daughter. Barry stated he has a family Verizon cellular phone account for his blank, Suzanne's blank, blank, along with blank and blank phones. Barry has an iPhone 5S. He did not know the model of Suzanne's Apple cell phone, but knew it was pink in color. Barry stated he is the owner of Sunset Farms LLC, a landscaping company in Salida. Additionally, he works as a subcontractor for Deesland Structures, Inc., DSI, a general contracting company in Salida. Barry stated that he has several contracted employees. His primary contractor is Morgan Gentile. Barry stated that Morgan previously worked with him at DSI until she was fired about 1 year ago. When she was terminated, he hired her on as a contractor. Yes, Nick, I think that they've acknowledged even today all over the news that how critical all the tips and information have been for Gabby Petito. Maybe moving forward, they will realize how serious it is and how people really can help. There's so much information to review and go through in every case, it seems. Barry stated he is also a volunteer firefighter with the Chaffee County Fire District. He is assigned to Maysville Station 5. Barry stated Suzanne is technically unemployed. However, she would complete the invoicing for Sunset Farms. Barry stated he and Suzanne have all joint banking accounts. Bank of the West, Collegiate Peaks Bank, and a 501c nonprofit, Suzanne R. Morphew Hope Foundation, as well. Barry stated they have other holdings with Morgan Stanley and he uses E-Trade. He also trades in silver and gold. Barry stated he owns a black 2013 Ford F-350, one gray 2015 F-250 blank vehicle, one white 2015 Range Rover, Suzanne's vehicle, and one white 2007 Range Rover blank vehicle. Barry said that Suzanne frequently uses Snapchat to communicate with her friends and daughters. Barry stated Suzanne also uses Instagram and Facebook. Barry's two email accounts are blank and blank. Barry stated that Suzanne typically wakes up and has coffee. She reads her Bible and emails. She then rides her mountain bike around their neighborhood and then does other things around the house. On occasion, Suzanne rode the Methodist Trails area. Barry further explained that on Sundays she virtually attended their church, Salida Grace. The service is broadcasted on YouTube and generally lasts about 1 hour. Barry stated that he typically works until about 5 or 6 p.m. and returns home. They have dinner and he usually goes to bed around 9 p.m. Barry stated they typically sleep in the same bed. However, if he is snoring, he will sleep in the bonus room on the couch. Barry stated that Suzanne communicates daily via Snapchat with her best friend, Sheila Oliver. Barry said they also communicate via text message. Barry stated Suzanne also communicates daily with blank, is typically home at the house, especially with the current school cancellation due to COVID-19. Barry stated that blank and blank, best friend of blank, departed on or about May 5th or 6th, 2020 for a road trip to Utah and Idaho. They were due back May 10th, 2020. Barry explained that in 2019, his company had been contracted to build a retaining wall at the site in Broomfield, Colorado. Two of his contractors, Cassidy Cordova and Cody Cox, were tasked with the work. Barry said that the wall was not completed correctly and he lost $30,000 because of it. Barry could not recall that name of the general contractor, GC, for the job. Barry stated that on Saturday, May 9th, he worked with Morgan Gentile on a job site in Salida. The task was to complete a rock beach on the property. After this job, Barry communicated with Suzanne by text message. They talked about hiking, and she later requested him to purchase hot tub chemicals. Barry stated his last message from Suzanne was between 11 a.m. and noon. Barry stated around 2:26 p.m. he texted Suzanne that he was done and was headed home. Whoops, got a little out of control there. Barry stated that sometime on Saturday, Suzanne asked him to take her mountain bike and helmet out of her vehicle, which he did. Barry stated that he cooked steaks out on the grill and they, quote, never even looked at the clock that night, unquote. He added, it's actually one of the best nights we've had in a while, actually, because there was no chemicals in Suzanne. He said they put their phones aside. Barry explained that on Saturday evening they had dinner together, had sexual intercourse, and went to bed. Barry could not specify a time, but believed it was around or after 8 p.m. Barry stated neither he nor Suzanne left the residence again. Barry stated that he was scheduled to travel to Broomfield on May 10th, 2020, to get eyes on the site and fully determine what was needed. Barry stated Morgan was supposed to travel to Broomfield that evening and Cassidy was due to arrive Monday morning. Barry stated that he preloaded his truck Saturday night. Barry explained he set his alarm for 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, May 10th, 2020. And a little side note, Barry changed his statement to CBI in 2020 and the FBI in 2021 multiple times about the alarm to match the evidence. Barry stated he awoke to his alarm at 4:30 a.m. Barry explained that when he awoke, Suzanne was still asleep in the master bed. Barry stated he heard her snoring. Barry said he showered and left the house at about 5 a.m. Barry stated he last saw Suzanne wearing short white shorts and a white string type shirt. And the note on that basically states Barry changed his last sighting of Suzanne throughout 20 and 21 numerous times. Barry stated that he traveled on Highway 50 to Highway 285. He traveled Highway 285 to East 470, north to I-76, and then onto US 36. Barry stated that he went directly to the Holiday Inn and checked in. Barry said he went into a room for a short period of time and rested after the drive. Barry explained he then went over to the work site. I got a side note on that. All of the statements in the paragraph that I am reading at this present moment are later proven false. To continue that one paragraph, after looking at the site, Barry called Morgan and requested her to bring another person. So what I just read, they're stating in there that that entire statement was proven to be false. The way he went on the highways, the direction he went, checking in at the hotel, and resting and going to the work site. Barry stated that he was at the job site at 10 o'clock-ish. He added it was just hotel and job back and forth. Barry stated he drove to a McDonald's near the job site and cleaned his windshield. He then went back to the hotel room. He stayed in the room for about 1 hour and possibly watched television. Barry then returned to the job site. Barry stated in response to the question if he ate that day, I kind of looked for something to eat. He said that he always keeps granola bars in my truck. He said, I saw a McDonald's pulled in there. I don't like crap food, so I thought I'm not going to eat here. He added, so I just ended up eating granola bars. While on the job site, Barry explained that his neighbor, Gene Ritter, called him and explained blank still could not reach Suzanne. Gene, who has the access codes for the house, asked to go check the house. Gene discovered Suzanne's car was there, however, her mountain bike was not. Barry stated he had texted Suzanne Happy Mother's Day earlier, as their daughters did. Barry stated his daughters had not received any replies from Suzanne. Also, Barry stated there was no cellular phone service at the house unless the phone is on the Hughes Net Wi-Fi internet service. Barry stated, I was at the job site when Gene called me, adding that Gene called around 5 p.m. Barry left the job site and drove to the hotel where he dropped the tools off in the lobby. He then drove directly back to Salida. A side note, on April 22nd, 2021, FBI agents showed Barry surveillance photos of him being in his hotel room, not the job site, when Gene Ritter called him at 5 p.m. Barry initially said there were no issues with their marriage. Later in the interview, when asked, Barry disclosed they did fight. Barry explained that Suzanne had battled through stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma several times in her life. The most recent battle started late last year, 2019. Suzanne was receiving maintenance treatments at the cancer center in Salida. Barry stated that Suzanne started using blank and alcohol. Barry stated this drug and alcohol use would sometimes lead to arguments, during which Suzanne would accuse him of being controlling. Barry described Suzanne's demeanor as hateful. Barry stated the last argument they had was Friday morning. He denied any physical abuse or altercations between Suzanne and him. A side note, throughout his interviews, Barry moved from referring to a perfect marriage and a perfect Friday night to admitting he fought with Suzanne often. Barry stated their daughters did not know about Suzanne's substance use and demanded that information not be disclosed to them. In fact, when asked, Barry admitted he deleted text messages from his cell phone because he did not want their daughters to access his phone and read those messages. Other statements by Barry in this May 13th, 2020 interview include, Barry stated, I I just know there's nothing in my truck. There's nothing in my house. I know that for a fact. Unless somebody came there Sunday morning after I left. That's all. I'm just being honest with you. They can be there for 10 weeks. They'll never find a single thing. But Barry interjected Cody Cox as a suspect, that Cox allegedly threatened to kill Barry. Barry consistently throughout the interview questioned why he had not been cleared in the investigation. Barry initially identified the Cushman's cleaning lady's daughter and boyfriend as possible suspects or possible suspicious persons. Barry stated if somebody went in and did something and took her and then ditched her bike to make it look like something, then I want you guys to find that evidence. However, he states multiple times, there's nothing in the house, nothing in my truck. Barry stated, and she would get so angry sometimes and even hateful, which is not her. Barry stated during these arguments, Suzanne has stated, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to divorce you. And then she doesn't mean it. I know she doesn't mean it, but in that state of mind. When asked about working on Sunday, he stated, it's Mother's Day. It's not like it's husband's day. He stated he stayed at the work site with the quote, I think I was there until probably 6 o'clock. In regards to the calls to Jean Ritter, he stated, she calls me and says, hey, her car is here. And I said, well, is her bike there? She goes, where does she keep the bike? And I said, well, I pulled out her car. It should be right near the car. She goes, there's no bike here. Unintelligible. Look here in the back. And I said, well, look. Well, she's riding her bike, but I'm a little concerned because I think she said she was going to take a morning ride. In regards to inspecting the clothing, Barry stated, yeah, she doesn't ride without a helmet. And she has a light blue helmet. Her favorite biking outfit is blue. I haven't been to the house to see if it's there or not, but if you guys didn't find it, then that's probably what she was wearing. Was the blue one missing? Light blue helmet, light blue outfit. She's a matcher. Light blue shirt. But was that in her closet or did you guys find it? Regarding the bedding, Barry stated he observed sheets in the dryer. He stated, was her whole bed blank? Because I wasn't in blank's room. Was the whole bedding off? Barry was asked to voluntarily submit to a polygraph examination, which he declined and said he would think about it. Said he didn't want to do anything that wasn't 100% accurate. He also said they weren't admissible in court. Agent Cahill observed scratches on Barry's left upper arm. Barry stated, yeah, like that from a tree when we were hiking in the mountains. And a note to that aside, these injuries appeared to be healing several days old scratches. Moving on to Barry interview, May 21st. On May 21st, 2020, CBI agent Cahill and agent Derek Graham interviewed Barry for the purpose of reviewing the victimology packets of Suzanne that were prepared by the Behavioral Analysis Unit, BAU, of the FBI. The interview was audio recorded. The following quotes were selected by S.A. Grusing for this affidavit. Barry stated, I just wish you knew how amazing she was, referring to Suzanne in the past tense. Per Barry, Suzanne began to abuse antidepressants and alcohol to get away from the stress and anxiety of dealing with chemo and cancer. He said it's the only thing we argued about, and he cited text arguments. He added, when she was in that mind, it wasn't her. Barry said that it was Suzanne, not him, who wanted to move from Indiana. He stated, we men need sex. That's all we need, and we'll be good. Barry discussed the pills Suzanne took and how he begged her to stop taking them. He added that she got mean and angry. Barry stated that Suzanne had friends and she kept pardon me. Barry stated that Suzanne had friends she kept from him, evidenced by her attempting to text someone and her saying it was none of his business, that it was private. Barry said that Suzanne gave her passcodes to him and he could access her phone, but it was very suspicious why she did not tell him about some of her communications. Barry said that he gave Suzanne $300 to $400 per week for spending. He said she never went to an ATM. Barry was the ATM. Regarding Barry leaving Suzanne alone on Mother's Day when she disappeared, he replied that his girls were supposed to come home, and I didn't feel bad because I thought they were going to be there around lunchtime. Barry stated that Suzanne's alcohol consumption increased after May 6th, when the girls left town and she did not have to hide the alcohol from blank. Barry said on Friday, I think we jumped into her car and went to Moonlight Pizza, got a pizza and a salad. He said they ate the pizza in the car and brought it home to eat. Maybe ate some of the pizza on the way home and ate the salads. Barry stated that on Saturday, May 9th morning, he got up early, probably had to put a few tools in my truck. Suzanne thanked him for the breakfast and was perfectly normal, giving him a kiss goodbye and everything was great. He told her that he would be home soon and they could go bike riding or hiking or something. Barry added that it was a perfectly normal day and she was in a perfectly good mood. When asked if anything out of the ordinary happened, Barry said, No, it was a perfect day, Saturday. When agents asked Barry if Suzanne had been drinking, he said that he did not pay much attention because he wanted to have a good night with her. Barry said that they grilled steaks and did not leave the house after he got home that day. He said that he and Suzanne laid out on the patio in the sun. Barry said she made soup for lunch. He left his phone alone because he wanted a nice evening with my wife. Suzanne talked to Barry that evening about purchasing a house in town for $800,000. He said that Suzanne was not on her phone that night that he knew of. When agents asked Barry if he and Suzanne went to bed together, he replied, I'm pretty sure we do. And later, I'm pretty sure we went to sleep together that night. Suzanne did not leave the house after they had sex and went to sleep. When asked by agents specifically if Barry used his phone to set his alarm for 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, he stated that he just woke up on my own without an alarm. CBI agents asked Barry why he answered sex as the number one reason why someone might be motivated to cause Suzanne to disappear on the BAU questionnaire. He answered, because my wife is beautiful, he added, and that's my nightmare right now. If someone's got her and sexually abusing her right now as we speak. Agents told Barry that workers who came to his hotel room following his May 10th departure commented the room smelled like chlorine. He replied that he had no idea why and that maybe hotel staff used it to clean because of COVID. Agents also told Barry that documents were left in the room and asked him if he took any documents into the room. He replied, not to my knowledge. There was somebody in the room after me. It could have been his. Side note to that, in April 2021, Barry told a different story about the documents to FBI agents. When agents asked Barry why he did not pick up Morgan Gentile as agreed on Sunday for the ride to Broomfield, he stated, I didn't want her to ride with me because she smokes, and I told her I wanted her to drive her car, and she was just going to follow me. Moving on to the Barry interview on May 28th. On May 28, 2020, CBI Agent Cahill and Agent Derek Graham interviewed Barry and audio recorded the interview. Barry was asked about the tranquilizer darts in his house. He stated that the darts' purpose was to tranquilize bucks to sell them. He said the bucks could then be placed in a trailer that has cubicles. The tranquilizer is a sedative narcotic, and he only did this tranking and selling of bucks back in Indiana. Barry said he has not used tranquilizer or darts in Colorado. Side note, this statement contradicts Barry's admissions to the FBI in 2021 of using tranquilizer darts and disposing of the evidence. Barry interview, June 2nd. On June 2nd, 2020, S.A. Grushing met with Barry at a house near his residence to conduct an interview regarding the victimology or pattern of life of Suzanne. The interview was audio recorded. Barry said Suzanne might leave him, but would never leave her daughters. Barry also agreed that an animal attack was unlikely and that an accident was unlikely based upon the positioning of the bicycle and helmet. Barry talked about Suzanne abusing alcohol and drugs and saying the last time Suzanne was doing well was the first summer we were here, specifying that was the summer of 2018. Now, side note to that, Suzanne's affair with Jeff Libler started in the late spring, early summer of 2018. Barry told S.A. Grushing that he thought Suzanne was abducted by someone. S.A. Grushing explained that the last similar violent act that occurred in Salida area happened in 1980. Barry was informed of the time of day Suzanne was riding, the low traffic area, her minimal exposure in the community, and other low risk factors and stabilizers in her life. S.A. Grushing told Barry this looked like an intimate partner homicide, and Barry did not object. S.A. Grushing noted Barry listed sex as the top motivation someone might have had for Suzanne's disappearance. Barry said he listed that because of how attractive Suzanne was. S.A. Grushing asked Barry why he only wrote convict for his response on what should happen to the person responsible for Suzanne's disappearance. He replied, it should be convicted and held responsible. I mean, that's not what I wanted to write, but I mean, inside me, I feel like I would like to physically harm them if they did this to my wife. That's the end of that statement. A little awkward there. When Barry was asked of his last image of Suzanne, he initially replied that he did not see her on the morning of May 10th or remember a last image. S.A. Grushing walked Barry through his prior statements of seeing Suzanne and describing her clothing. Barry was asked multiple times what his last image of her was, and he did not answer the question. Finally, to elicit some responses, S.A. Grushing asked if he even remembered seeing a lump of covers in his bed before he left for Broomfield. Barry replied that he saw probably just the lump there. Detail is, remember her breathing. Regarding Friday, May 8th, Barry stated, but in the afternoon, it, meaning the text fight, was like it never happened. She texted me back, and it was like, hey, what time are you coming home? Hey, this or that. Just pick this up or pick that up. Regarding the afternoon of Saturday, May 9th, Barry said when he arrived home, Suzanne had vegetable soup waiting for them, and they just kind of sat out in the sun. They sat out in the sun, talked, had a good day, and decided they were going to grill steaks out that evening. He said she was perfectly fine because there was no alcohol in her. And a side note, Barry would later tell S.A. Grushing that Suzanne was drunk when he was shown the last proof of life photo she sent to her lover at 2:03 p.m. on Saturday. Regarding Suzanne's activities on Saturday night, Barry stated she took blank sheets off and washed them Saturday evening. Barry was asked if other people had passwords to get into the phones and laptops of Suzanne. He replied that Suzanne told him what her last password was. Barry interview, June 3rd. On June 3rd, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Graham interviewed Barry at his residence. The interview was audio recorded. The following quotes are selected for this affidavit. Regarding Friday morning, May 8th, Barry stated that we had our text argument. I don't even remember what it was about. She was in one of her moods. Moving on. When questioned about their activities Friday evening, Barry responded that they probably watch TV and Suzanne is usually on her computer. She's typically on the computer, maybe doing a class online. She always looks for clothes online. He added that she did not apologize about the text that morning, like nothing ever happened. Regarding Saturday, May 9th morning, Barry stated that he did not set an alarm or recall what time he got up. He made himself and Suzanne breakfast, sat it next to her in bed. He said, "I think I made bacon and eggs and toast." Regarding Saturday, Barry stated that he got home and Suzanne had a bowl of soup ready for him. They talked about hiking and biking. They spent the day together and sat outside in the sun and talked for an hour. Regarding Saturday, Barry stated, "I honestly don't recall what we did after that soup, but I think we hiked here in the subdivision. Yes, we did hike. We hiked Foose's that night. Then twice, I'm pretty sure that night we hiked Foose's." Barry stated, "I know we sat down at the lake for a while. I'd say we were gone for an hour and a half, maybe," he added. "It was actually a good day. She didn't drink at all. It was a normal, nice afternoon." Barry stated that he got back to the house probably around 3 or 4. Talked about the dinner she said she was going to make. Talked about the dinner, and she said she was going to make some potatoes. He said he would marinate the steaks. "I'm probably in the garage. I usually tinker around there, killing time." He added that Suzanne was probably doing sheets, adding that blank bed was a free-for-all while he was in the garage tinkering. Barry said, "Just had a wonderful evening and she was perfectly fine because there was no alcohol in her." He again said he asked her not to drink that night. Barry stated that after dinner, Suzanne did the dishes and he went back into the garage, fixing the pin on the Bobcat. Barry stated, "I think I recall seeing 4:15-ish when I get up and knowing that, hey, if I leave at 5, I'll get there at 8, he added. "I probably got up and took a shower, got my clothes on." Barry added that Suzanne was naked the last time he saw her, so he did not know what she was last wearing. Barry stated that he went into the dryer looking for socks and saw blank sheets, and he dug through some of Suzanne's clothes in the dryer. A pair of her shorts were in there. Regarding Sunday morning, Barry stated, I think was getting hungry. I think went to McDonald's that was close. And I think when I was there, I think I decided against McDonald's, but I never eat there. And because of COVID, so I think I went around the corner to a gas station and got a granola bar." Barry interview, June 17th. On June 17th, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Derek Graham interviewed Barry. The interview was audio recorded. When questioned of anything recently that might have been a first for Suzanne, Barry responded that she started taking THC/CBD edibles and oils about a month before she left. He's referring to her going missing as before she left. Barry reported that she was getting it from a guy in Westcliff named Tim, and that Barry could provide Tim's contact information. And a side note, it says to see the interview summary of Timothy Agnew in section 5. Barry purchased CBD oil from Agnew in 2019. Near the end of the interview, Barry provided Tim's phone number. Barry separately said that Suzanne was buying drugs off the street and cited the person from whom she was buying drugs is a viable suspect for her disappearance. Moving on. Barry interview, June 25th. On June 25th, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Derek Graham interviewed Barry. The interview was audio recorded. Barry said that Suzanne's family, the Mormons, were involved in marijuana and maybe they were responsible for her disappearance. He referred to Suzanne's sister Melinda as being wicked and her brother David as being smart enough to do something like this. He's brilliant. After suggesting that maybe Suzanne's siblings should be considered as alternate suspects, Barry stated, "Sometimes when people are guilty, then they point the finger because of their guilt." On a side note, Barry made a similar statement again in an interview with CBI agents Cahill and Graham on July 1st, 2020. Barry said that Melinda and David appeared to be pointing the finger at him and stated, "So I don't understand why they're doing that unless they're guilty. But sometimes people are guilty. Say, hey, 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 he did it, he did it, he did it." When Barry suggested alternate suspects like Melinda or David, he seems not to recognize that he seems to be doing the very thing he is explaining that is supposed to indicate a person is guilty. Barry thought that Suzanne and Kurt Sigler might have been having an affair. Barry said that he never looked at Suzanne's phone because he did not want to lose her trust, but that she looked at Barry's phone all the time. Barry said that Suzanne had the body of a 30-year-old and that they women give us sex. That's all we ever want or need. Barry said, "I guarantee you that my tech from my truck and my phone will exact match my interviews because I know for a fact what I've done." Barry provided the phone number for Tim from Westcliff, who might be involved in Suzanne's disappearance. Now, moving on to Barry interview July 8th. On July 8th, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Graham interviewed Barry at his residence. The interview was audio recorded. Regarding the worst text Barry deleted, he said, "If I remember right, it was Friday morning. I was working and she was in one of her moods." Barry stated regarding Sunday, "I went in, got the hotel room, relaxed for a little bit, went to the job site and seen it, then added, pulled several blocks off and left it." Barry stated, "And that's McDonald's is the only places I remember going," he adds. "I did nothing else. Besides, went to the job site and went to the hotel." Regarding Saturday, Barry stated, "We sat out in the sun. She was sunning and wanted me to sit out with her. I know we went to Foose's, and I can't remember exactly if it was Saturday, but I'm thinking it was Saturday. We took a walk up around Foose's and come back, and she read. I tinkered around outside and did things outside until supper and grilled steaks." Barry stated, "If I went to DSI, it wasn't in the afternoon, and I could have ran back to crib and had him put the blade on." Barry said, "I know I made steaks on the grill. That's one thing I know I did." Barry stated, "We had a lot of good time together that week." Regarding the argument Friday morning, Barry stated, "To be honest with you, I can't even remember what that was about." The alcohol got worse and worse those last 3 months, and she was drinking every single day. Barry stated, "I just can't remember any specifics." When informed by CBI about the long phone call on May 8th, adding, "To be honest, I just can't remember us talking on the phone." Barry stated, "That weekend, nothing out of the ordinary happened. It seemed normal and perfect." Barry stated, "With the girls gone, Suzanne's phone would have been on all night Saturday." Barry stated, "I think there was some trash in my truck," adding wrappers, bottles, and junk that accumulated over the work week. He said that he threw his trash in the garbage can and went to the gas station and got a granola bar. Barry stated, "I'm pretty sure when she, being Jean, called, I was right there at the wall," adding that he loaded up his tools, took them directly to the hotel, and told the lady working in the hotel lobby that he had an emergency and asked if he could leave his tools in the lobby. When asked if he threw anything away at the hotel, Barry replied, "Not that I recall. I mean, I could have, but not that I recall." When asked to be specific, he replied, "Not that I recall." Barry was asked twice if he took anything into the hotel room besides his backpack, and he replied that he did not. Barry stated, "I don't know," when asked by CBI when the last time Suzanne talked about leaving him. When asked if it was recent, he replied, "No, I don't. I don't ever recall her saying she's going to leave me." Agents asked Barry if Suzanne ever told him she was done, and Barry stated, "She never said that. She loves her family too much." Barry stated, "We grilled a steak, split it." Barry stated, "We had 2 different plates that night." This statement was refuted by Agent Graham, who explained that it appeared only 1 plate was recovered from among the items the dishwasher. Barry replied that he must have hand-washed his own plate. Barry stated because she started drinking, in response to the statement by CBI that he and Suzanne's behavior got worse the minute the girls left on the trip, and she was drinking the whole time. Barry stated after multiple assertions that he did not recall what junk he threw away, that he might have thrown away an old pair of boots that had been in the back of his truck. After CBI told him multiple times that he threw away more than boots, he stated, "If there's clothes in my truck, there was probably old clothes I threw away." Barry was told by CBI that he showered at the house before leaving and showered at the hotel when he arrived. He replied, "Showers relax me." Barry stated, "I change shirts all the time." When told by CBI that he changed shirts twice after getting the hotel, when asked why, he stated, "I don't even recall changing shirts that day." When confronted by CBI agents that the video footage from the hotel contradicted Barry's statements that he was at the wall of the job site when Gene Ritter called, Barry did not refute the evidence. The property of 19057 Puma Path, not including the house, was searched following this interview, pursuant to the issuance of a search warrant for the remains of Suzanne. Results were negative. Tips to CBI. Let's see. As of April 26, 2021, CBI has received 1,485 tips for Suzanne Morphew's disappearance. These tips are reviewed and investigated as they are received. Numerous people have been identified, interviewed, or investigated due to circumstantial reasons related to them being in the area or associated in some way with the family. Investigation into a small number of these tips is ongoing, though none of them have provided any evidence to substantiate anyone as a legitimate alternate suspect or to counter the evidence against Barry highlighted in this affidavit. Moving on to Section 4. Section 4, Evidence. Tire impressions. On May 4th, 2020, search teams located tire impressions in the area where Suzanne's helmet was located. The GPS coordinates are listed here in the document. On the same date, the tire impressions were casted by agents with the CBI for late possible comparisons. Detective Julian advised S.A. Gershing on August 26, 2020, that only one tire impression was suitable for testing. The Ford F-350 telematics. On May 14, 2020, your affiant prepared a search warrant for the telematic data from Barry's Ford F-350 truck. On the same date, your affiant submitted the search warrant, affidavit, and service request form to the Rocky Mountain Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory, otherwise known as RMR-CFL. The results of this data will be discussed in conjunction with the RMR-CFL search of Barry's phone. Searching the residence on May 20, 2020. Search efforts were still ongoing at the Morphew residence, searching for evidence related to Suzanne's disappearance. On this date, Detective Julian located a writing pen that appears to be the spy pen Sheila Oliver referenced. The pen was located in a cloth bin amongst women's bras. The cloth bin and pen were inside the walk-in closet in the master bedroom located on the ground level of the residence. Detective Julian located with the pen the controller of and headphones for playback and a USB cable. Spy pen recordings. On May 23, 2020, Detective Julian transported the seized Memos audio recording pen to the Colorado Springs Police Department, CSPD, Digital Forensics Unit. CSPD Detective Brian Rogers conducted the search and data recovery on the Memos pen's content. Some of the audio files on the pen were deleted. However, 2 of those deleted audio files were retrieved during the search and analysis by Detective Rogers. On May 24, 2020, Detective Julian started reviewing the audio on the recording pen. The recordings appear to run from February 2020 to March 2020. Based upon the context, Detective Julian gathered the following information. Suzanne communicated with 2 different male voices. One self-identified as Barry, and the other was identified by Suzanne as Jeff. One of two conversations between Suzanne and Jeff sounded to be of an intimate nature. The conversation between Suzanne and Barry is confrontational and their voices are raised. Under the file numbered 3/22/20/20, Suzanne appears to place her recording pen in the truck of Barry as he took a trip to Pueblo. The pen recorded him listening to multiple episodes of Forensic Files, to include the killings of Mary Lee Wilson and Donna Payant and Lemuel Smith, the murder of Vicki Lynn Hoskinson, who went missing after riding her bike. Hoskinson's sister finds the bike and discussed it was found in the middle of the road. The case began as a missing child. Her family pleaded on TV for her return. Discussion also included the location of Hoskinson's body in Tucson being a remote location, how animals had scavenged her bones, and investigators trying to determine when she was killed. Barry further listened to the Forensic Files case of Walter Scott, a man that went missing but was later determined to be a homicide victim of James Williams. While Scott was married to Joanne, he had an affair with a woman named Suzanne. Meanwhile, Joanne was cheating with a man named James Williams. Williams killed his first wife, staged a car accident, and married Joanne after killing Scott. Walter was reported to be acting not himself in the days prior to his disappearance. I'm sorry, here it's, after married to Joanne after killing Scott. Walter was reported to be acting not himself in the days prior to his disappearance. A phone call is recorded between Barry and Suzanne in which Suzanne calls Barry Shirley, his mother's name, after he tells her how to cook. Barry and Suzanne, why she has to be so mean to him. Barry asked Suzanne why she has to be so mean to him. Much of the conversation is unintelligible because of the truck noise. Barry listened to other Forensic Files episodes of homicide investigations during the 5-hour recording session. Pen recording of argument with Barry. Sergeant Julian and FBI agents Stephanie Benitez and Kenneth Harris listened to the recordings on the spy pen and collaborated with RMR CFL to attempt to mitigate the background noise that interfered with the audio. The following relevant portions were recovered. In March 2020, Suzanne told Barry the following. This is all I hear every day. This is all I hear every day. What? I'm not? What should I think? Undecipherable. I'm not listening to that anymore. Listen to me. Listen to me. Barry interrupting. Listen to me. Listen to me. I have lived for years being told how I should feel, how I should act, how I should look, what I should drink, what I shouldn't drink, what I should put in my body, what I shouldn't put in my body. Undecipherable. I fell into this. This is not undecipherable. Controlling, more talking. It's not okay, front and back. Later in the conversation, Suzanne and Barry were arguing. Suzanne, you want me to just... Barry, no, I'm just asking you to. Suzanne, blindly go into this? Barry, you don't have to blindly do anything. I'll make plenty of the money this year to pay you back. Suzanne, I don't want to talk about it since you yelled at me the other day. Barry, okay, I will make plenty of money this summer to pay you back, probably within a month. This is something I told you that was important and you decided to go against my wishes. Suzanne later stated, it's all about money. Then she added, 80% of our arguments are because of money. She added, it's money. It's about money. At 1 hour, 17 minutes, Barry stated, if you want your money, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to make plenty of money. And I told you it was important. You decided to go against my will and my wishes. Suzanne responded with words to the effect of, not against it. You brought it up and we talked about it. Moving on to Suzanne's conversations with Jeff. Okay. S.A. Harris provided the following synopsis on Suzanne's recording with Jeff that occurred during her February 2020 trip to Florida. Hard to hear in some places. is noted. Jeff is driving north on 75 during their conversation. Jeff talks about a potential job and says he can't take it. Suzanne asks why and mentions the weather in Michigan in February. Interstate 75 does travel north-south through Michigan. Jeff and Suzanne appear to be talking possibly about trying to meet up around Valentine's Day. Suzanne seems to reference being sure that Barry would be at home at the time and would not show up. There's a reference to Suzanne in the Suzanne and Jeff conversation to Tuesday the 11th and Valentine's Day, as if they are still coming up and possibly talking about or making plans for those dates. February 11th, 2020 was a Tuesday. At 21:08, Suzanne takes a call on her speakerphone. She stated, "Hi, sweetie, I'm good. How about you?" Suzanne and the male, presumably Jeff, discussed her trip to Florida. She later stated that Barry was flying to Florida and she thought, "It's just weird stuff, this whole Valentine's Day thing." And then it says inaudible, but I was kind of happy to hear that because maybe we were in the clear. Jeff replied, "Well, like I said, I don't want it to be a stressful thing. I just don't." Suzanne stated, "Jeff, come on. I'm the one who started the whole ball rolling," she added. "I mean, there's a lot that went on last week that I haven't told you about. And not good stuff. So I really think he feels bad about that too. You're not a homewrecker. You are my lover and my sweet friend. And the man I love dearly, okay?" Jeff stated, "I won't. I just want you to be happy, that's all." Suzanne replied, "I'm looking at the man who makes me happy." All right, moving on to notes about the Tranquilizer. On May 19th, 2020, CCSO Deputy Scott Himschoot was present during the search at 19057 Puma Path in the laundry room and was asked to collect a new dart box, empty, one plastic hypodermic cover, one new dart book from a safe in a garage, one dart from a box under the bench in the garage, among other items. The plastic cover was located by evidence search teams in the dryer, inside of the sheets belonging to blank bed. These items were sent to the CBI lab for testing. And then moving on to the CR 105 search on May 22nd, 2020, approximately 9:05 a.m. Pursuant to the issuance of a search warrant, search teams along with canines and canine handlers, bloodhound man trackers, NecroSearch, searched the property at 6962 County Road CR 105, a site where Barry had been conducting earthwork since April 2020. A local resident had reported heavy machinery being used late at night on Saturday, May 9th, 2020. During the search, 3 canines were ran blindly and individually across the property. NecroSearch and the FBI Evidence Response Team, ERT, worked with CCSO and CBI to remove portions of the poured concrete slab and search through the new construction. I think many of us can recall them showing those scenes of that dig on TV, on the news. Okay, moving on to Facebook friend requests. Subsequent to the issuance of a search warrant, your affiant received the Facebook business record for the account of Suzanne Morphew. FBI S.A. Grushing and FBI Staff Operations Specialist SOS Robert Boss reviewed the results. 20 males, 3 of them with the first name Jeff, though Jeff Libler was not on the list, and 3 females were new friends added to Suzanne's Facebook account between Friday, May 8th, 2020 at 9:04 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and through Saturday, May 9th, 2020 at 6:01 p.m. From a cursory review of Suzanne's account dating back to January 1, 2020, those friend requests were out of the norm for Suzanne. Though Suzanne received over 25 friend requests from others in 2020, her Facebook account profile initiated no friend requests until May 8th. Of the 23 people who received Suzanne's request, none were able to confirm with Suzanne that it was actually her who sent the request. FBI and CCSO interviewed over 10 of those recipients, most of whom live in Indiana. Derek Thurston, who received a request from Suzanne's account, on May 10th, 2020 at 10:12 a.m. said he knew Suzanne from junior high and high school in Alexandria, but was not a close friend of hers. Thurston thought it odd Suzanne decided to send the friend request after not talking to him for over 25 years. He added that she did not seem like the type of person who was desperate to friend people whom she did not know well. Bobby Huff, who became Facebook friends with Suzanne on May 9th, 2020 at 9:33 a.m., graduated with Barry from Alexandria Monroe High School in Alexandria, Indiana. Huff had not talked to Barry or Suzanne Morphew since 1985. Huff stated that Suzanne would never see me and friend me on Facebook. Huff explained that her sending of the invitation felt weird to him and not something Suzanne would do after such a long time of not speaking, especially the day before she disappeared. Huff added that many rumors were flying around Alexandria that Suzanne and Barry were not happy in their marriage, that Barry was in financial trouble, and that he was involved in shady business dealings. Shane Phipps became Facebook friends with Suzanne on May 8th, 2020 at 9:08 p.m. Phipps said that he did not know Suzanne because she was younger than him, but that he and Barry knew each other from the Alexandria High School, since Phipps was 1 year older than Barry. Wade Pulliam called the Suzanne Morphew tip line. Pulliam wanted to report receiving a Facebook request from Suzanne on May 8th, 2020 at 10:05 a.m., which he found strange because he has not spoken with her in 30 years plus. Ricky King became Facebook friends with Suzanne on May 9th, 2020 at 9:31 a.m. King had his phone with him when he received the friend request on that Saturday, May 9th. He accepted the request, though he had no real contact with Suzanne or Barry since high school. King described the friend request as strange, considering the timing and the fact that he did not know Suzanne or Barry well. Moving on to the Range Rovers that were seized. Is anybody hearing any new information that they weren't aware of, just from the past and the media news reports? Just curious, let me know in the comments below. On May 16th, 2020, CCSO seized the 2 Range Rovers located in the garage at the Morphew's residence. The vehicles were towed and taken to the CCSO secure impound facility to secure them for further evidence processing. On May 20th, 2020, your affiant spoke with FBI Special Agent Dave Donati regarding the 2007 Range Rover and the 2015 Range Rover telematics. S.A. Donati explained the 2007 Range Rover would not contain telematic information, but the 2015 may contain this data. On April 29th, 2021, S.A. Grushing advised that the results of the examination by the FBI's Technology Division for the 2015 Range Rover had not been completed. Moving on to Barry's Verizon records. On May 12, 2020, your affiant spoke with Special Agent Kevin Hoyland with the FBI Cellular Analysis Survey Team, CAST, otherwise known as CAST. S.A. Hoyland requested that cellular records be obtained for 1 month prior to law enforcement being notified on May 10, 2020, when Suzanne went missing. S.A. Hoyland explained the records would be useful to establish a pattern of life for Suzanne with her call detail records. Search warrants were served to Verizon Wireless and detailed record information to include all geolocation information on the following people: Suzanne Morphew, blank, Barry Morphew, blank, 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 and blank. Quite a few redactions there. To date, no evidence has been obtained to include outgoing phone calls, outgoing SMS, text messages, vehicle movements, sightings on video cameras, or sightings by an independent witness other than Barry that Suzanne left the Morphew house after May 8th, 2020 at 7:06 p.m. FBI S.A. Grushing, computer scientist Brian Turner, and CAST agent Hoyland, along with the personnel from the RMR-CFL, have examined Barry's cell phone. S.A. Grushing wrote the following regarding Barry's cell phone content as it relates to Suzanne's disappearance. From 5:41 p.m. on Friday, May 8th, 2020 through Sunday, May 10th, 2020, all 11 calls between Barry and Suzanne are outgoing from Barry to Suzanne. Out of 58 voicemails on Barry's phone, none are from Suzanne. Barry deleted numerous calls between himself and Suzanne from May 4th to 5th, 2020. When asked by FBI agents in April 2020 why he deleted those calls, he said he did not recall doing so, and it must have been freeing up space on his phone. On January 7th, 2020, Barry's phone searched how to make a girl, it's explicit intimacy issue. I'm going to not use those exact terminology or words on here. Recovered and from deleted web searches on Barry's phone about particular intimate issues. Barry's phone searched older man, younger woman relationships, YouTube. Recovered from deleted web searches on Barry's phone. On January 8th, 2020, Barry's phone searched the Facebook help page. I can't reset my Facebook password because I can't access the email or mobile phone number on my account. Help Center. Recovered from deleted web searches on Barry's phone. On January 24th, 2020, Barry's phone searched third base, my first hand job, Dear Teen Diary, 9th grade, entry 14, YouTube. Recovered from deleted web searches on Barry's phone. There's one reference to the January 8th, the resetting the Facebook password. There's a note here reference the password reset on Suzanne's iPhone on the night of February 8th, 2020. Reference Barry's phone section for May 8th. On January 25th, 2020, Barry's phone accessed localsnapsext.com. Find a cute girl near Salida and come get dirty blank, along with other such sites that were recovered from deleted web searches on Barry's phone. And there's a notation about that. When Barry was asked by CBI if he ever searched online to meet other women, he replied, no, never. And then they referenced July 8th interview. He added, absolutely not, never. On March 9th, 2020 at 6:44 a.m., a video of Barry's phone was taken of a prescription drug bottle of Suzanne Morphew. On April 24th, 2020, Suzanne sent Barry the following message that was recovered from deleted images by the RMRFCL. The message states, oh, I'm sure your mistress has you all happy now, so you can say you love me, but bully me when you're with me. Yeah, that's love. RMR CFL examiner Jim Stevens found the above image as the one that Barry likely swiped the message off his screen, and the swiped image was saved. This message was not recovered separately in Suzanne's iCloud storage or Barry's phone. On May 4th, 2020 at 4:04 p.m., Barry made an outgoing call to Suzanne that lasted 3 seconds. This was the first logged call in Barry's phone to or from Suzanne since February 7th, 2020. An additional 6 calls incoming and outgoing between Suzanne and Barry were made that day until 6:07 p.m. And a notation on that states Suzanne's Verizon records, however, account for 8 calls between her and Barry that morning. May 5th through the 10th, Barry's phone and other GPS sources. For the context of examining data from Barry's phone in a comparison of the locations from his Ford F-350 as gathered from the return of the search warrant for telematics, together with the Verizon return from Suzanne's phone per search warrant return, are included by S.A. Gershing for the dates of May 5th, 2020 through May 10th, 2020. On May 6, 2020, Barry called Suzanne in 6 consecutive times between 8:06 a.m. and 8:13 a.m. before she sent the aforementioned "I'm done, let's handle this civilly" message at 10:13 a.m. That message was recovered from RMR-CFL as a deleted image from Barry's phone. On May 6, 2020, from 2:43 p.m. to 5 p.m., Suzanne received 4 messages deleted from Barry's phone prior to seizure of his phone on May 13, 2020, from Barry, which referenced the following: "When I'm dead, going to see my Savior, and this life on earth is a mere grain of sand compared to eternity." The location activities registered by Barry's phone were abnormally high in frequency during the late nights and early morning hours of May 8th and 9th, 2020, and May 9th and 10th, 2020, while at the Morphew residence. On May 8th, 2020, at 7:06 p.m., Barry's phone called Suzanne while his phone was likely traveling west along US 50. Suzanne's phone location was approximately 3 miles east of Barry's phone. The call lasted 73 seconds and was the last recorded call for either device on May 8th, 2020. On Friday, May 8th, 2020, at 7:18 p.m., Barry's phone registered its last event of the day. Its next event was at 6:46 a.m. on May 9th, 2020, when Barry's phone registered power on. On May 9th, 2020, at 6:46 a.m., Barry's phone was taken out of airplane mode. Your affiant knows that airplane mode is a setting available on smartphones and other portable devices. When activated, this mode suspends the device's signal transmission technologies like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, effectively disabling all voice, text, and phone services. GPS may or may not be disabled. On May 9th, 2020, from 7:22 a.m. to 7:39 a.m., Barry's phone registered locations at his Tailwinds worksite near Poncha Springs. During that time, Suzanne's phone exchanged messages with her friend Sheila Oliver at 7:35 a.m., and Greg Fisher accepted her Facebook friend request at 7:30 a.m. And there's a note to that. Fisher told the FBI that he thought Suzanne's Facebook had been hacked, and he checked her account online upon receiving the request. Fisher said he's a close friend of Gene Mormon, Suzanne's father, and said it didn't seem like her to send him a friend request. Suzanne's phone was located at the Morphew residence per CAST, the Cellular Analysis Survey Team. Analysis for the entire day of May 9th, 2020. On May 9th, 2020, from 9:31 a.m. to 9:33 a.m., Ricky King and Bobby Huff accepted Suzanne's friend request on Facebook. The note to that is Huff told the FBI he did not think Suzanne sent the request, that she would never see me and friend me. Barry's phone continued to receive messages from Suzanne's phone and send messages to her phone while he remained at the CR 105 site until 9:37 a.m. On May 9th, 2020, at 9:50 a.m., Suzanne's texted Barry, "Want to hike?" At 10:36 a.m., Suzanne texted Barry, "Wanna meet to hike?" At 10:48 a.m., Barry responded, "No, I'll come home." On May 9th, at 2020, at 11:14 a.m., Suzanne's phone received a second password reset message from Facebook. Shortly after 11:15 a.m., Barry's phone traveled west on Highway 50, arriving at the Morphew residence around 11:27 a.m. Both phones per CAST appeared to be at the residence from 11:30 a.m. through 1:40 p.m. Barry's phone exchanged 2 messages with Tim Bacco at 1:49 p.m. and 1:50 p.m. Barry also made an outgoing call to Suzanne for 2 seconds at 1:51 p.m., his 10th of 11 consecutive calls to Suzanne. On May 9th, 2020, at 2:26 p.m., Barry texted Suzanne, "Done, headed back." At 2:31 p.m., Barry texted Suzanne, "Did you leave?" By 2:43 p.m., Barry's phone and F-350 per telematics appeared to be at the Morphew residence. On May 9th at 2:47 p.m., Barry's phone appears to enter airplane mode. So according to this document, it states Barry at 2:43 p.m., his phone and truck were at the residence. And at 2:47 p.m., just minutes later, the phone goes into airplane mode. On May 9th at 10:17 p.m., an airplane mode off event started on Barry's phone, and the phone was then powered on at 4:32 a.m. on May 10th, 2020. That May 9th and 10th, 2020 night, approximately 210 locations for Barry's phone registered near the Morphew residence, compared to 0 to 2 locations on previous nights from May 1st through May 8th. Interesting. On May 10th, 2020, Barry's phone display came on and his device was unlocked at 3:56 a.m. That's interesting because one of the statements above talked about when the phone was powered on, but I'd have to go back and review that information. On May 10th, 2020, from 3:25 a.m. to 3:48 a.m., the Ford F-350 registered 0 miles per hour with GPS at Morphew residence as the doors opened and closed multiple times. S.A. Hoyland noted over 80 events involving the F-350 during this time frame. 80 events in approximately 20 minutes, half hour or so. Wow. The location data for Suzanne's phone last registered with the tower near the Morphew residence at 4:23 a.m. Further events of Barry's phone records are documented under the Surveillance Video Broomfield section. So our next section here, Broomfield Surveillance Video, Barry's Ford F-350 and Barry's phone. And again, thanks everybody for joining us today. I think I'm going to get through just a little bit more here and then continue it into part 3. Such a lengthy document with so many particulars in it. Okay, let's get started here. Video footage was collected by the CBI from the Holiday Inn Express 11401 Via Vera, Broomfield, Colorado for May 10th, 2020. The following timeline of events included the surveillance video. Telematics of Barry's truck and his phone activities to provide his actions on May 10th. At 8:14 a.m., Barry's phone was at the Holiday Inn Express. At 8:41 a.m., Barry texted Suzanne, "I made it to Broomfield. Call me when you get a chance." At 8:46 a.m., Barry walked into the hotel carrying 2 white trash bags, a khaki backpack, a pair of boots, a dark colored item, and a piece of clothing with blue teal coloring. The picture, definitely grainy and hard to tell. Could barely see maybe a boot right here, possibly the white trash bags. I find that really difficult to see a lot of what's in that photo. At 10:06 a.m., Barry exited his hotel room. He was carrying the charcoal long sleeve shirt, and 2 white bags and a pair of boots. At 10:20 a.m., the location of Barry's phone was near the lot of McDonald's, 625 Interlochen Boulevard, Broomfield, Colorado. At 10:22 a.m., the driver door of the F-350 opened in the rear parking space of the same McDonald's lot via the truck telematics. Barry is seen on video provided to CBI from the First National Bank, 615 Interlochen Boulevard, located adjacent to the McDonald's lot. He is carrying unknown items in his hands and placing items into 2 separate trash cans located on the edge of the McDonald's lot between 10:19 a.m. and 10:41 a.m. Per the CBI, no timestamps. From the bank video, Barry exited the truck, walked to a trash can while he held an unknown smaller object in his left hand and possibly his right hand. He placed something in the can, extended his right arm downward into the can, and walked back to open the driver's door. Barry was oriented towards the inside of the driver's door, and the driver's side floor for the next few frames. He walked to the same trash can, possibly with an item in his right hand, extended his right arm into the can, then placed both hands and arms into the can. Again, I find these shots here, the video cam, the stills here from that surveillance, really, I can't see much. It's pretty blurry. Barry returned to the truck, oriented to the inner portion of the driver's side door. After a few frames, he turned with his hands together and walked to a trash can across the lot. He returned to his truck and drove away. And notes to that are, on April 22nd, 2021, FBI agents showed Barry these photos. From 10:47 a.m. to 11:18 a.m., the location of Barry's phone was in or beside the lot of Men's Warehouse, 160 East Flatiron Crossing Drive, Broomfield, Colorado. From 10:50 a.m. to 11:17 a.m., the driver and passenger doors of the F-350 were opened and closed at least 7 times in the parking lot near Men's Warehouse. At 11:23 a.m., the locations of Barry's phone and truck were at the Holiday Inn Express. At 11:36 a.m., Barry walked into the hotel lobby wearing a black t-shirt, carrying under his left arm a black binder and disorganized papers. At 11:56 a.m., Barry exited his room wearing a white t-shirt and carrying the binder with the papers, notated here in the right photo. He walked to his truck at 11:57 a.m. From 11:57 a.m. to 12:25 p.m., Barry's phone was near the Via Vara worksite for the wall. At 12:06 p.m., Barry made an outgoing call to blank. From 12:28 to 12:29, the location of Barry's phone was at the Holiday Inn Express. Telematics of the F-350 also registered the driver door opening and closing multiple times in the hotel lot. And I see they have some images of that as well. At 12:36 p.m., Barry arrived at the hotel parking lot in his truck. He got out of the truck and carried one white trash bag, larger in size than the previous bags, in one hand. In the other hand, he carried a black container along with a green item, possibly a piece of clothing. At 12:38 p.m., Barry placed bags, a black container, and clothing from his truck beside the curb, referencing this image here, the curb near the hotel lobby, and then he walked to his truck, appeared to pick up a small item from inside, picked up the trash bag, coat, and container, and walked towards the dumpsters at the end of the lot, which is what this appears to be, the far picture to the right here. At 12:41 p.m., Barry walked back across the lot towards the hotel lobby with nothing in his hands. At 12:42 p.m., Barry entered his hotel room. Barry did not leave his room per the film until 6:03 p.m. And the notation on that is, on April 22nd, 2021, FBI agents asked Barry, why did he not park near the dumpster to throw away those items, and said he did not recall. In March 2021, agents showed Barry photos of him carrying a camouflage coat, a black tree container, and a bag across the hotel lot, and asked him what items were in the bag and why he was throwing those items away. He did not provide details and could not recall the items. All right, everybody. I am going to get through this next page here and then continue this with another live, which will be posted, that we can continue. That'll be part 3. So moving on here. At 3:30 p.m., Barry sent an outgoing message to Suzanne. Call me. At 5:15 p.m., Barry received an incoming call from Jean Ritter. At 5:45 p.m., Barry received another incoming call from Jean and Martin Ritter. At 5:57 p.m., the telematics of the F-350 registered GPS coordinates at the Holiday Inn parking lot. The previous GPS coordinates for the F-350 registered at 12:28 p.m. At 6:03 p.m., Barry exited his hotel room, wearing a black shirt with his khaki backpack on his back. At 6:05 p.m., Barry made an outgoing call to Martin Ritter. At 6:06 p.m., Barry pulled his truck in front of the hotel and walked into the lobby before walking back out of the lobby at 6:08 p.m. At 6:09 p.m., Barry made an outgoing call to Morgan Gentile. At 6:10 p.m., Barry entered the lobby carrying 2 shovels and placed them beside the front desk. He made subsequent trips, placing more tools in the same spot. You can see his truck right outside the doors there. At 6:12 p.m., Barry left the hotel lot in his truck. At 6:20 p.m., Barry made an outgoing call to blank. At 7:10 p.m., Barry received an incoming call from blank. And there's a notation about Chaffee County Sheriff's Office there. At 7:21 p.m., Barry made an outgoing call to Suzanne. The following note applies. This call to Suzanne was his first ongoing communication to her after learning she was possibly missing. Following the 5:15 p.m. call from the Ritters, Barry made no independent effort to determine whether she was simply not answering her phone due to poor cell service before he abandoned his work project, staged the tools in the lobby, and left town. The call was not answered. The location of Barry's phone was on Highway 285, approximately 75 miles from Broomfield. I will continue here just a bit. So let's see. At 7:33 p.m., CCSO dispatch called Barry and informed in a 1 minute 32 second call, it says 1:32 minute call, that Suzanne's bike was found. When asked to describe the bike, Barry did not know the make, but said it was blue with colorful pedals. Barry started crying and asked, "They found a bike?" He said he was heading that way and asked, did they find the phone? And the note on that is investigators noted that Barry did not ask if Suzanne was found, but he asked about the phone. At about 10:30 p.m., Morgan Gentile arrived at the Holiday Inn Express and checked into Barry's room. And then we go to another section here, basically return for Suzanne's phone and Icloud accounts. On May 28, 2020, Apple Inc. returned records pursuant to a search warrant for Suzanne's account for email blank that was associated with an Apple account created on January 16, 2019. This account also listed Suzanne's name, address, and phone number. Apple provides a separate identifier known as a person ID, which is understood to be unique to an individual subscriber. In those same Apple records, that person ID associated with Suzanne logged multiple updates to applications through the iTunes store, including for both LinkedIn and WhatsApp applications. This indicates that Suzanne had WhatsApp and LinkedIn installed on her device through May 9, 2020, when the last update was logged for each. Well, thanks everybody for joining, for listening to part 2, Crushing Crime, True Crime. We appreciate it very much. If you hit the like and subscribe button, that would be terrific. We'd greatly appreciate that. Let's see. We are on page 39 here. 39, Suzanne's Verizon return. That's where we will continue with part 3. I will put up a notification when I will go live to continue the review of Barry Morphew's arrest affidavit. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you joining in today. Hope everybody's doing well. Have a great afternoon and evening wherever you are. Again, if you hit the like and subscribe button, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today. Bye for now, and look for the notification of our next live to continue the review. Thanks, everybody.